My name is Tuscany. This is Christopher. This is our very abbreviated talk on GPS jamming. We were originally planning to submit a full talk, didn't have time to finish and kind of dropped the ball. This is a talk about GPS jamming as well as GPS moving. We're going to show you a short video. This actually happened 2 weeks ago where a luxury yacht.
Talking to Mike.
Sorry?
Mike.
So a luxury yacht at sea was hijacked because the GPS signal was hacked, and the yacht went off course and ended up in the wrong country's territorial waters. So essentially the goal going into this project was to be able to build our own GPS jammer, much like the University of Texas did, to be able to hijack small drones, other autonomous vehicles. It took a little bit of research. We were actually able to put together a small L1 broadcast tower, large enough to essentially cover something like this room. The range we were getting is about 50 feet. The intended demo we had was to actually have 3 of these towers so we could perform a full hijack. Only had a chance to complete 1 of them. The material cost was under $80 to be actually to have our own GPS simulator. Runs off a fairly simple Linux script. I have not yet been able to actually produce a moving object. I am able to provide paid GPS locations for a stationary target. After the conference, I will be releasing the full hardware spec and the scripts to be able to do this at home. Which means if you build up to 3 to 5 of these and place them somewhere in the building, so for example, if somebody fires up their phone, typically should not have GPS reception indoors, obviously depending on the building materials. With these towers, you can either A, help somebody actually navigate within your own building and give them accurate GPS coordinates, or you could misguide them, causing somebody to drive to the wrong neighborhood with their car GPS, depending where it's planted, or to misguide somebody inside the building, route them to the wrong locations. Obviously, there's the L2 GPS signal, which is reserved for the military and is encrypted. But since it's not available to the civilians, there's not a lot of reason to actually try and broadcast or try to spoof it. SFA opens up drone use for the public. I do foresee more attacks against individually owned drones, especially agriculture drones, just due to the fact that they're going to be flying over large open areas, fairly low, just so that they can actually interact with the crops.
Hi, I'm Kurt Cocaine. Actually, yeah, to be honest, like I wasn't prepared for this talk, but we have all the references. Yeah, we're supposed to do a talk for DEF CON, but it was canceled. However, like I was planning to do a talk like regarding the GPS jamming to like what I used to do with CDMA before, you know, because with the Kia phones before smartphones and everything. I'll be planning to give a talk about that, about CDMA synchronization and like how to track someone. For example, using cell phone towers. So yeah, probably in the future I'll be talking about that. So.
If you follow the Twitter feed for BSides, we're going to release the full hardware spec. With under $80 for the parts, you're going to be able to build up your own GPS jammer. So just multiply it by 3, and you can start playing with it yourself. Any questions I can answer?
Magellan, does it have any kind of similar attacks against it?
So the Magellan units come in a few varieties. The ones that have differential GPS, those are actually a lot harder to attack because you do have 2 different diversity antennas. But the units that have 1 active antenna are susceptible to this attack, unless you're talking about something that supplements it with a lower-end signal.
I don't know. Not as familiar with the system, but I know that they have diversity on those 3.
Yes, if you have diversity antennas, which is what most ships have, and you have DGPS, what's used in construction sites to get resolution down to a few meters, those are a lot more difficult to attack. It's still doable, but then you're going to need to actually synchronize the timing signal on your own attacking nodes so that both antennas believe what you're broadcasting.
So you have to find a chip that's got an accurate enough clock to maintain the timing.
Exactly. I believe having your own GPS with an active antenna that's far enough away that you're not jamming your own GPS signal could work. Or you could actually have your own hardwired network to do backhaul so that the chips could communicate with themselves.
To synchronize all the cell network? That would be good.
You could, but then you lose a lot of stuff. And the cell phone network itself gets a timing signal off the GPS signal. And if you're jamming the GPS signal, you're struggling with your own time signal.
How much is the season clock these days?
Under 80K,
Okay.
if you get one used from the Navy.
You run a ton of closet for likely over France. No, they make them smaller. You could actually use them as synchronization. All fine. They do.
I'd love to see it, but everything I've seen the Navy sell stuff surplus that was almost vaguely affordable.
That'd be space worthy.
Any other questions you can answer?
Isn't doing this super legal?
Doing this for malice, yes. There's numerous FCC and other regulations that prohibit you from screwing with the GPS signal. However, if you're doing this in a closed environment for research purposes, you can do this. You need to be in a shielded building, shielded environment. One solution we've actually found that works really well is Harbor Freight sells a sandblasting cabinet. It doesn't take too much more insulation to actually make it a nice Faraday cage. It gives you about 2 square feet to work with.
Use directional antennas to mitigate leakage into the outside environment.
I wouldn't do it. If it comes down to you're actually publishing research and somebody knocks on your door and asks to see your secure environment, you're probably much better off showing a secured and sealed metal cabinet than saying, oh yeah, just doing the field over there with directional antennas.
Given the close proximity you need in order to do these proof of concepts, what is the practical application of this research? Like what can you use this for in reality?
So there's no reason why this can't be scaled up. Since I'm not actually doing this for mouse, there is no reason to. But you can easily build or connect a larger amp. There's a reason you were using less than 1 watt, specifically as a proof of concept. Since I'm releasing it, I'm not trying to actually hijack somebody's yacht. If you have a little SparkFun GPS or a small Arduino board, I could show you that I can geolocate you in Australia, and that's good enough for these purposes. And it's easy to take it from there.
I think I had seen something that was from the privacy aspect too. If you're worried that somebody is trying to GPS track you with something on your car, you could, if you jam it, they know that you're jamming it. But if you fake it and you make it seem like you're somewhere else or going somewhere else or not leaving, then you're better from a safety purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot of their systems that are actually connected to this. A certain device that will lock or unlock or change the privacy settings, encryption settings based on this. There was actually a funny incident related to car jamming you were talking about. So New Jersey Turnpike has this really nifty option for truckers, is you don't actually have to have a Easy Pass charging based on the GPS. So this one trucker figured out a way to save over $17,000 a month on his Easy Pass bills. The problem is it was interfering with the Newark Airport approach system. After the system kept rebooting for over the course of 3 months, they realized that something must be going on related to the New Jersey Turnpike. They started reviewing the tapes, and eventually they narrowed it down to 2 trucks. And after searching them, they found a GPS tracking system that was being sold by Deal Extreme. And that was a week before Deal Extreme got the really nasty letter from the feds you might have heard about. That was because of the Newark airport incident.
So wait, someone's GPS spoofer was rebooting the Newark airport like control systems?
The system that allowed the aircraft to do the final approach autonomously as opposed to manually, yes. That's a whole other scary discussion.
Well, what was happening was the trucks, if I remember correctly, were parking right like under the approach. So as the planes were coming in, it distorted the signal, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And when they reviewed the camera, they always saw like, "What the hell?" Every time it happens, there's this truck that's parked right there, and then as soon as it leaves, hey, look, no problem. So.
If I remember correctly, this truck wasn't actually parking. This truck was actually going down the highway, and there was an easy pass about 1.5 miles from the Newark airport.
It must have been a different incident then, because I do remember that there was a story where the truck was parked right at the end of the runway to eat his lunch every day, and then they figured it out.
I think that was the Chicago airport incident 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
This is a newer incident, the other airport jamming
Oh.
incident.
It's good to hear that.
So what about the altitude calculations? Are you able to manipulate those as well?
It's harder, but yes, we have the code to broadcast that. A lot of units, such as the one in your car GPS, actually don't care about the altitude. If you're doing something like hijacking per drone, then yes, altitude calculations come into play.
Just say it's in the middle of the center of the earth or something of that nature.
It's actually really funny because you can fuzz the GPS, and I found that a lot of the cheaper GPSs do break when you send them weird signals. So for some reason, sending negative altitude was bad.
Definitely.
Any other questions we can answer?
How big is the unit?
The unit is actually about the size of a deck of cards. Again, we're broadcasting at only about 1 watt, so I didn't have to do a lot of isolation with a rough amperage. So if you're scaling it up, you are going to go up in size pretty much exponentially because you're willing to do a lot more shielding.
So it's basically like you're saying, like if by the 100 feet, it would be like
50 feet is the most that you can really do with something that small.
Oh, okay.
But like scaling up is fairly easy with even commercial grade amps. If you have a ham radio license and you've worked with Buildio and the low radios, then you should be able to scale up easily.
Is GPS in the range of most software-defined radio, like USRP? Could it be some signals?
Yes, it's definitely within the range of USRP because it has drop-in boards. But it's don't have the slide with the frequencies. But if you buy the little TV dongle, you can receive the GPS signal. But keep in mind it's receive only. If you're actually doing more than just receiving, you're going to need a dedicated software-defined radio. Ideally, I'd recommend actually getting something that's specific to that center frequency, not something that happens to be able to tune it. Because once you drift off signal, even consumer-grade GPSs are fairly well centered. So you could start by testing with a time clock source, get like a 10 kilohertz timing source. Yes?
So you've been able to skew time with it? To what level?
I haven't played with skewing time. I've played with sending the wrong GPS location. But if you're getting timing signal off the GPS, there's no reason why you can't broadcast 1776 all the time.
So you would need an accurate time source or just need a slightly variable difference?
Well, you are the accurate time source, and you could be as accurate or inaccurate as you want. You just need a timing source. So something like a 10 kilohertz reference point that's used in any kind of radio communications would work. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for stopping by. We apologize for not coming out at 4 o'clock today, but we'll release the hardware and the software on the 13th.
Cool. Sure, you start over on this.